to another video. My name is Chris. Thanks so much for stopping by. Today, it's story time. I want to tell you the story behind my 2004 USA Strat, the best and worst guitar I've ever bought. So I've always been a massive fan of the Fender Strat. My biggest guitar heroes all played Strats. It started off with John Frusciante from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. That quickly evolved to Jimi Hendrix, then Eric Clapton, then John Mayer, then Stevie Ray Vaughan. The list just goes on and on. And my first ever real guitar, or what I classed as a real guitar, was a Fender Mexican Stratocaster that I got when I was 14. And I played that guitar to death. It was the guitar that pretty much informed all of the musical choices that I made, and it really did influence my playing, but I knew that my heart lay in the USA Strats, and I was just desperate to get one someday. Fast forward to university, where I studied music technology. I definitely felt like I was progressing to the next stage in my musical career. I was playing more shows, I was touring, I was playing with musicians who were just amazing, and my little Mexican Strat, it had just been through so much and it was starting to get a bit rough around the edges, and I just felt like I needed to upgrade. So I had a few part-time jobs when I was at uni, and I was just saving up, and I was constantly just scrolling through all of the Facebook groups on eBay, Reverb, any online place to look for a good USA Strat. Being able to justify buying a brand new one was pretty difficult at that time in my life, so I thought I would try my hand at getting one secondhand. And this is where things started to go a bit wrong. So one day I was just scrolling through, it was probably 2013, I just graduated university, and I thought now is the time to kind of mark this kind of chapter in my life, and I found this Sunburst Strat on Facebook. And in my mind, I thought, great, I am onto a winner. I always wanted a Sunburst Strat. All of my guitar heroes played one, Stevie Ray Vaughan, John Frusciante. It was all Sunburst. And for me, it's just the quintessential Fender Strat. And all the pictures on the adverts looked great. You know, it was really thorough. I had pictures of the pickups, of the neck, the serial number, everything seemed pretty good. So this guy was a private seller, and he invited me round to go and check out the guitar for myself. Definitely advice to any of you who are looking to buy guitars is that it's always really important to actually try them out before you buy them, because you never really know what you're buying. But even so, even though I tried this guitar out, it still came back to bite me pretty hard. So I go to this guy's house, and all seems well. He has a lot of guitars, quite a few Fenders, some Gibsons, so I know that he pretty much knows what he's doing, and he obviously cares greatly about guitars, and he has pretty good taste in instruments. So I picked up this guitar and I sat it in my lap, and I just strummed just an unplugged E chord, and I could tell the guitar was really resonant, and I thought, this is awesome. The neck shape is really nice. It's kind of like a C shape. It's quite wide, and it's just really comfortable to play. I could tell that it was an awesome instrument, and I really wanted to plug it in just to hear what that tone sounded like. So I asked the guy if I could just plug it into one of his amps. And this is where it got a bit weird, because he said that he didn't have an amp. And I was like, well, you've got all of these electric guitars. There was Strats and Gibsons and Les Pauls and everything just lying around. I was like, how has this guy not got a guitar amp? And he said that at the time he'd sent it out to get serviced, so it wasn't with him, and he wasn't expecting it back for about another week or so. Now this guy was half an hour away from my house, and I really didn't want to have to sort of come back at another time, because I could tell that it was a really nice guitar, and I didn't want somebody else to just go buy it in the meantime. He assured me that everything was fine. He said there was no problems. He said it played really well, and just by the way that it felt in my lap, I could tell that it was a great instrument. You know, I wasn't worried about the playability of it, but you just really want to know what it sounds like. I mean, for me, with my money and coming from a Mexican Strat, I was like, how much better is this USA Strat gonna sound? Anyway, I'd saved up so much, and I was really excited, and I was really young at the time. I was just that typical impatient, impulsive person that just really wanted to have this in my hands. So I bit the bullet, and I paid the guy the money, and I took the guitar, and I was really excited. I had a gig that evening with my band. It was just a birthday party. It wasn't anything particularly high pressure or exciting, and I thought, well, you know what, let's just take the guitar. I had my Mexican Strat with me anyway, and I thought if worst comes to worst, at least I've got that as a backup. So anyway, we get to the venue, I plug the guitar in, I put it on the neck pickup, and I play it, and it just sounded awesome. It sounded exactly like I wanted it to sound. But my favourite position on a Strat is the neck and middle. It's always been the sound that I've loved. It's that quintessential John Mayer sound. Stevie Ray Vaughan used it a whole bunch, and all the Clapton out of phase position sounds are just ones that I've always gravitated to. And that's where all the problems started. I put it on position 4, which is the neck and middle, and all of the tone just got sucked out of the guitar. It was really thin, it lost a load of output and volume, and I was just so devastated. I was like, this isn't the guitar that I want. This isn't the sound that I have in my head when I think of Fender Strats. So for that gig, I persevered and I played everything on the neck pickup, and I got through the gig, but in the back of my mind, I was just really disappointed. Now fortunately, because I'd been playing music for a while and I'd been doing gigs and playing professionally, I knew a lot of people and I knew a few luthiers who I could pretty much trust to take this guitar apart and have a look and see where the problems lay. So I took it to a guy called Harry Miller, and he had the guitar, he opened it up, he took a look at it, and yeah, it was just a complete botch job inside. All the pickup wiring was wrong. The guy had obviously tried to reconfigure the pickups and try and experiment with it, and in the process he basically just ruined the whole wiring to the pickups and all the connectors to the pickup selection and the pots. And I was like, great, here we go. Money that's going to need to be spent to fix it. Luckily it wasn't that expensive a guitar anyway, so I did have some money left over. So I went about trying to find the best solution. Was it going to be getting these rewired? Should I just bite the bullet and get some new pickups? So to cut a long story short, Harry basically rewired the pickups, the original pickups, and things started to improve. The tone wasn't quite right, and I don't think it was because of anything that Harry did. I think it's just because of the pickups in here. I didn't know if he'd actually tampered with the pull pieces or anything like that. So for about 6 months, I just persevered. But I thought the time was right to kind of upgrade the pickups in this. So then I took the guitar to Matt from House of Tone Pickups. He's based in Chester in the northwest of England, and he makes amazing pickups. And he's somebody that I've been friends with for a while. We had a lot of mutual friends who were on the music scene at the time, and I was able to try out a new set of pickups that Matt was designing, which were basically carbon copy replicas of a set of original 1960s Strat pickups. And these have been reviewed in a few of the guitar magazines against the originals, and they had basically come out pretty much on top. So I managed to strike up a deal with Matt, and he installed his pickups in this guitar. As soon as I swapped out those pickups, this guitar, it just came to life. It was honestly night and day, the difference. And this is why I say that this is the best and worst guitar I've ever bought, because really, until I made those upgrades and I changed those pickups, this guitar was just one that I was starting to resent, because it was the guitar I'd always dreamed about, but it was just not playing the way that I wanted it to. It was a bit of a roller coaster to get there, but then as soon as the pickups were changed, this is now my favourite Strat, and it's still to this day probably the best Strat that I've ever played, just in terms of sound and how it feels. So really, there's a lot of lessons to be learned. I definitely learned quickly after that experience. I now pretty much rarely ever buy anything secondhand, and if I do, I make sure to, really scrutinize it and make sure to play it. Really, I just take my time and I take care, and I'm less impulsive. And that's my advice to you guys, really. If you are looking to buy your dream guitar and you want to go secondhand, then absolutely go for it, but just make sure you know what you're buying. As I say, guys, that's just the brief story of my #1 guitar. I hope you enjoyed the video. Maybe in the future I can do more videos just telling the story behind my instruments or my gear. So if there's anything that you want me to cover, then leave it in the comments down below. As always, guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.